Hi, I am the liberal conservative. I'm here to tell you about things that you don't hear on your news broadcast because people on the left side listen to liberal news, CNN and MSNBC. People on the right side typically listen to Fox, and never the twain do meet. You know, it's funny. I started out in 1968, always a Democrat. My parents were Democrats. We voted for Humphrey. We voted for McGovern in 72. In 76, we also voted Democratic. In 1980, we kind of took a leave and voted a couple of times for Reagan. But back in 88, it was Clinton, and we've been Democrats ever since. It's funny that people didn't criticize me too much when in 2008, when I supported first Hillary Clinton and then supported Barack Obama, and same thing in 4 years later in 2012. But it's interesting that when I found the flaws that our candidate, the Democratic candidate, had in 2016, who was Hillary Clinton, I kind of decided I couldn't vote for her. And fortunately, I had just moved to Florida at that time, so I wasn't registered to vote, so I didn't vote at all in 2016. But my friends give me a hard time because I supported the president. Well, I've supported every president since Lyndon Johnson. It's not that I support every policy or every decision or any decision, but I was taught growing up to support our president. My father grew up as a lifelong Democrat. Was a Democratic candidate in New York and a Democratic candidate down in Florida. Captain in Florida. Always was a big Democratic supporter. My mother the same way. And everything was cool, I guess, until 2016, because Hillary Clinton was anointed as the candidate, Donald Trump, I guess, decided that he was going to run for president as a Republican. Republicans don't get a lot of love on the coasts, New York, California, and some of the biggest cities, Chicago. But as I said, I support the president because I support all our presidents. So it became uncomfortable when I would post on Facebook or basically Facebook, things that seemed to be supporting the president, and nothing that was outrageous. We all know that President Trump isn't always on point with the truth. I don't think he's a pathological liar, but I think he sometimes shoots from the hip and doesn't get all his information before he makes his decisions. But since 2016, the press has kind of gone on the warpath to destroy President Trump. You see it at the news conferences, the press conferences, when they just sit there and kind of shoot him down, try to catch him in falses or lies, whatever, and kind of get joy when the president slips up and makes a mistake. Well, that's not why I'm here. As I said, people on the left listen to CNN and MSNBC and don't really know what's going on as far as Fox, and the conservatives watch. Things recently, as far, when Floyd was killed, terrible thing, and nobody should be killed under the knee of a police officer. It was a nice excuse for the liberal side of our country to take up arms and decide they were going to destroy our country. Some of my friends who only watch the liberal news had no idea what was going on in places like Portland, in Seattle, to a certain extent even in Minnesota. So, as I said, in the future episodes, in my future podcasts or my future YouTube videos, I'll try to set the message straight as far as the truth. Again, I have no axe to grind for either side. I'm a lifelong Democrat. I do support every president, and that's really where I'm at. Something to say about about what was going on now in 2020. I don't think the president did a great job with his COVID response. I don't think anybody could. Kind of hit us right between the eyes with a disease brought to us by China. Obviously, a lot of the news media says, calls it, if you call it the China virus, you're being xenophobic or prejudiced or racist or whatever. Every virus comes from somewhere. This one came from China, so I think the China virus is absolutely appropriate. You see now that I'm kind of concerned with the way the presidential campaigns are going. Neither campaign is able to have rallies or meet in public, and hopefully when the Democratic convention occurs, which is going to occur sometime in Milwaukee, unless that's canceled, pretty much the Republican convention is canceled, and the president's going to make his acceptance speech from the Oval Office. We'll learn a little bit about the candidates. In my opinion, if Joe Biden would have run for president in 2016, he would have won. We would have had three consecutive terms of Democratic presidents. He might have even had a chance to win again in 2020. Unfortunately, he didn't run. Secretary Clinton was anointed to become the candidate in 2016, and she had too many flaws, too many skeletons in her closet to warrant election, and Trump basically beat her by a landslide. You may take homage with that or take offense to that. Either way, it's the truth. It's what happened. And again, if you have any comments to me, just leave a comment in my under the YouTube message. But we see Trump, regardless of his flaws, is aggressive. He has energy, and unfortunately, I don't think that Joe Biden has any of that energy. Every time he comes out of his basement, there's a gaffe, there's a misspeaking. I guess that's the right term. He misspeaks. Doesn't know what office he's running for. Doesn't know where he's located. Doesn't know whether he's in a state or a city. And quite frankly, it's troubling to have a candidate for the highest office in the land that has that many flaws. Now, we can go back to Trump. He also misspeaks, but he doesn't misspeak. He doesn't misspeak. His way about him isn't the same as Joe Biden. Doesn't seem to be suffering from any type of dementia or lack of cognition or anything like that. Yeah, he's cocky. He's pretty much an SOB and typical New York businessman. Biden, from Pennsylvania originally, but now for many years in Delaware. Also has a reputation of not really telling the truth. We can go back to his when he ran for president, and he plagiarized the speech by somebody who was running for MP in England. So he's kind of had his drawbacks or his gaffes. His latest one, one of the latest ones, if you ain't, if you don't vote for me, you ain't black. Got the horns up from people like Charlemagne the Great, whose Breakfast Club he actually spoke on. So it's a problem. I think that the way things are going, and I guess again, I said I wasn't going to give you an opinion. I guess in this particular case, I have to give you an opinion. I think if President Trump isn't successful, we're going to go very, very far left, probably further left than any of the center Democrats or Republicans really ever want to go. You know, if President Trump wins, he's had luck with the economy. He's had luck with unemployment. He's done things like you know, letting people out of prison, releasing people out of prison for when they had ridiculously long sentences. Many of them, which came about, you know, with the Biden crusade on crack, I guess it was, in the late 80s, which put many, mostly African Americans and minorities in prison for longer terms than they would have had they been, you know, selling crack or pot or anything like that, even heroin. So again, I'm here in the future or to give you information about the way I see the landscape, the way I see things going. I'll tell you things that happen on, you know, from the left media, things that are happening from the right media, things that you don't hear if you're listening to the other guy. And I hope you subscribe, hit the little bell key, and so you'll be notified when I release another YouTube. I plan on doing it whenever I get the urge, whenever I have a thought that I used to post to Facebook. And you know, I mean, it's something that I'm going to be doing regularly, and I appreciate listening. Have a great day. This is the Liberal Conservative. I am the Liberal Conservative, and I am signing off.